Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. In this video I'd like to show you Phase 4 and Phase 5 of the Zariel's challenge. I will go over all the mechanics which you see within the easy version of Zarya and also the master version. Now if you do not get these series of mechanics right, especially in Phase 4, you will just completely wipe and you'll never succeed the trial. It's a crucial DPS check and you need to get the overall coordination completely right. Otherwise, you're just gonna screw it all up. As soon as Zariel hits about 35-36%, she goes on to Phase 4. She will initially announce, "Harriman, Elenthius, would you entertain our guests?" And they will reply, "Yes, milady." And then Harriman will spawn to the east side of the platform, and Elenthius will spawn to the west side of the platform. As soon as they spawn, you ideally want both tanks already in the spots, ready to take each angel. Now, very important mechanic with these angels is, if both angels come close to each other, they will both gain a brother buff. With this buff, essentially they will gain like 90% damage resistance, and therefore you will basically deal no damage to them, and they will do at least 5 times more damage on their attacks and basically go and one-shot everybody, including the tanks. This will be a wipe if it happens. If ever both of the bosses get close to each other, then it's a wipe. That is in the master version. In the easy version, they do a whole lot less damage and their damage resistance is a whole lot lower. So you can afford to have a slight mess up there in easy mode, but I still advise keeping them far away from each other. Just move to their initial spawning locations, stay there, and tank them there. So ideally what you do is one tank goes to Harriman, and all of the DPS also go to Harriman with one of the healers. The other healer and other tank goes to Elenthius, and you tank them separately like that. As soon as the DPS get Harriman down to about 20%, 25%, 20%, depending on how quick your DPS is, that is when you want to switch over and burn down the other boss. Now the important mechanic here, and the reason for this, is that when one of the angels dies, the other angel gets the brother buff that I mentioned before, dealing a significantly more amount of damage and having an insane amount of damage resistance. Therefore you need to kill both of them at the same time. Now to kill them, you get them to 10%, and then they will teleport away off the platform. So you get one of them, ideally Harriman, down to 20%, then you switch over, you get Elenthius down to 20%, then half of the DPS switch back to Harriman, and you kill both of them at the same time. However, it's not as simple as that, because Harriman and Elenthius both have certain mechanics. Initially, they just have their at-will attacks where they'll strike the aggravator with their sword. It will do significantly more damage, about twice as much damage as Zariel normally does. That is also in the easy mode and hard mode. And then they will do their cleave attacks, exactly the same type of cleave as Zariel does. And then they will go on to do Holy Circle and Holy Donut. Harriman will initially do a Holy Donut, so it's safe to stay next to him, while Elenthius does a Holy Circle, so you need to move away from him. So what you do is, while the DPS are all on Harriman, you wait for that donut to burst before you switch over to Elenthius. If you have enough DPS, you will get Harriman down to 20% before the donut is finished, and at that point you need to wait, and the ranged DPS can just rotate their camera and aim at Elenthius and do their powers on him. So as soon as that donut is finished, it's safe enough to switch over to Elenthius, as long as he's finished with his Holy Circle, which generally their timing is exactly the same, so it should be okay to do so. Phase 4 is like the most important phase of the trial. If you don't get it right, you're all gonna die and wipe. However, if you get it right, it's most likely you will succeed the trial, as this is the hardest part of the trial in itself. You have about a minute and 10 seconds before Zariel will do her daily power and kill everybody. If her bar fills up, which will fill up over time, that is when she kills everybody. If you manage to kill Elentius and Harman, or chase them off, before said time, then she will just basically do a significant amount of damage to everybody, which you can mitigate with using different artifacts and whatnot, like the Sigil of the Paladin and also daily powers from other classes. Now if you all die to this, if the bar is not full, you can just scroll and revive yourself. Then you'll go on to phase 5. Initially she will do a Way to Virtue or a Holy White Noise. In the master version she will do 3 Holy White Noises, one after each other. So it's very important you all have enough protection there and enough HP to be able to tank all 3 of them. In the easy mode you'll just have 1. In the hard mode, just after all 3 white noises, you get a double tank buster. So initially the person with aggro will get stunned and you'll have the tank buster, so you need to switch. And then that person who switches, who takes the aggro and gets hit by the judgment, will then get stunned and somebody else will have to take the aggro again off him. You know what I mean? It's just a double tank buster. You won't get this in the easy mode, so it'll be nothing to worry about. Now for the mechanics rotations of the easy mode and hard mode, they're entirely different in phase 5. In the master version, you'll have a whole series and nasty mechanics. Later on in the phase, you will get rotating cleave, where you get the cleave, but without the spaces in between it. Initially, it will shoot towards the tank, and then it will begin to rotate. It will rotate about 72 degrees, do another cleave, again rotating all the way around until she does the final 6th one back on the aggravator again. So the way to do this is everybody's behind the boss, the tank is in front, she does the initial cleave, then she rotates and does it again while all the DPS rotate around and that tank stays where he is. Everybody rotates around with the boss as she's rotating and doing her cleave, and the tank stays there, and therefore everybody will be back behind the boss and she'll do the final cleave back on the tank. In the master version you will get the hypo on this, or the scathing light with this rotate, so it will be vital you all stick together, and on the easy mode you will just get this as a standalone mechanic. Other than that, there's nothing really new in phase 5, just the series of mechanics will be different. You'll get, for example, in the master version, you will get a cleave, and after it you will get a grid, then with 8 runes, then you will get like a holy circle or a donut, and then you'll get like another cleave with a fast holy circle or donut, then another cleave with a fast circle, holy circle and donut. Then you get your rotating cleaves with your hypo. And then it goes on to do your white noises, and you rinse and repeat. So that's basically it for phase 5. You just need to again go through the mechanics rotations. It's similar as phase 1 and phase 3. They all just have the same series of mechanics which they rotate through, and they just keep rotating through it until you either manage to successfully beat her by getting her HP down to 10%, or you either all just end up dying out and wiping. Now hopefully I presented this well and you learned a thing or two. If I did, consider leaving the video a like, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.